You're looking now at the field for the 2-mile run, and in lane 1 on the inside to the left from Villanova, Marty Liquori, who of course is the AAU champion in the mile, stepping up today to the 2-mile. In lane number 2 from Spokane, Washington, Gerry Lindgren. In lane 3 from Yale, Frank Shorter. And in lane 4 is the high school sensation. He's graduated now from Coos Bay, Oregon, Steve Prefontaine. The 2-mile run.
And this should be a very good one. 4 very evenly matched runners. Marty Liquori, the NCAA and AAU mile champion. Gerry Lindgren, one of America's great distance runners. Frank Shorter, who won the NCAA 6-mile title this year. And Steve Prefontaine, who is destined to be one of America's very best in the next year or two. They moved off to a leisurely beginning with Shorter, Prefontaine, then Lindgren and Liquori. Track here not exceptionally fast, and a bit of a swirling wind that will probably hold down the time a bit, but the competition, of course, is definitely here. Frank Shorter holding the lead. Prefontaine on his shoulder. Now Gerry Lindgren in the middle of the track moves up to take the lead as they come to the end of the first 440. And they are off to a pedestrian 67 and 2/10 second beginning. Now Lindgren, of course, feeling this very slow pace, picks it up tremendously and has already broken away from the field. He has a good 6 or 7 yards on Prefontaine, with Shorter a couple of strides behind him and Liquori running at the back of the field. Gerry Lindgren is making a good comeback after an Achilles injury ruined him in 1968. He ran his best 2-mile when he did 8:35.4 and finishing second to Jack Batchelor in the West Coast Relays. At the AAU Championships in Miami, he was narrowly edged by Tracy Smith in 13:18.4. Gerry's had a stomach condition that's plagued him for the last 3 years, but it seems to be arrested now, and he's looking very good at this moment as he is pulling the field through the first half mile. And it's 2:09.5, so Gerry picked it up there with a 62.3 lap, and we're in better shape now for a little faster 2-mile. Steve Prefontaine is from Coos Bay, Oregon. He's just graduated from Marshfield High School there. He's 5'9½", weighs 145, he's 18 years old. This year he set a high school 2-mile record with a tremendous 8:41.6, in which he ran the second mile in 4:16.6, which is really excellent going on the second mile. He also has a 4:06 flat to his credit this year, which he did in winning the Golden West meet for high school seniors. And he has come up right now to Lindgren, and he's passed Gerry and has gone into the lead. Coming in now to the end of 3/4 of a mile with Prefontaine the leader, then Lindgren in second, and Liquori and Shorter running together back in the third position. 3:15.3 for the 3/4 of a mile, and Steve Prefontaine with about 2 yards on Gerry Lindgren. Steve ran his first 3-mile race in the AAU Championships, and after dropping back during the early part of the race, he picked it up nicely with an excellent finish to place 4th in 13:43 flat. And he has signed a letter of intent for the University of Oregon, so he'll be under the tutelage of Bill Bowerman for the next 4 years, and that means we can expect something very good indeed from Steve Prefontaine. He and Lindgren running right together, just a stride apart, and about 10 yards behind them are the two Easterners, Marty Liquori from Villanova, Frank Shorter from Yale. Coming in now to the end of a mile, dead even, Lindgren and Prefontaine, with Liquori and Shorter running behind them about 20 yards to the rear. 4:22.6 for the mile, so they ran 67.2 for the first lap, 62.3 for the second, 65.8 for the third, and now 67.3 for the fourth. So they're running right about now at an 8:45 pace, and they're picking it up a bit down the back straight, Prefontaine and Lindgren, with a good 25 yards now on Liquori and Shorter. Marty Liquori has been bothered by an arch problem for the last 6 weeks, which has practically curtailed his training. He consulted a specialist in Los Angeles on the way over, and hopefully orthopedic support inlays that are being made will arrest the problem. He is America's premier miler at this moment, with Jim Ryan out of the track and field picture for the rest of 1969. The wind down on the track just a bit difficult for these runners, holding him back just a bit. 5:31.6 the time for 1 1/4 miles. Prefontaine, a very good finisher. Gerry Lindgren, of course, acknowledged as an excellent finisher. Gerry Lindgren was the hero of the USA-USSR meet in 1964 when, as a Spokane high school boy, he defeated the Russians over 10,000 meters. And he won the NCAA 3-mile, 6-mile double 3 years running while at Washington State. And now Lindgren is right up even with Steve Prefontaine, the two products of the Pacific Northwest. Lindgren from Spokane, Washington, Prefontaine from Coos Bay, Oregon. I get a lot of rain in Coos Bay, Oregon, but obviously it didn't hold back Prefontaine in his preparation for 1969 when he obliterated all high school records over 2 miles with his 8:41.6. Of course, Lindgren ran 8 minutes 40 seconds while a high school boy indoors, but he did not approach that outdoors. 6:40.8 now for 1.5 miles. Lindgren now back in the lead, doing the heavy work. Prefontaine now dropping back just a little bit as Lindgren picks up the tempo down the back straight, about 2 yards separating them, with Liquori and Shorter well out of it in third and fourth positions. Gerry Lindgren was 9th in the Olympic Games at Tokyo in the 10,000 meters, and he shared the world record in 6 miles at 27:11.6 with Billy Mills when they finished in a virtual dead heat at the 1965 AAU Championships. He holds the American record for 5,000 meters at 13:33.8, which he did in 1968 when he defeated world record holder Ron Clark at Modesto. Now coming into the gun lap, just a stride separating Lindgren and Prefontaine. 7:46.7 the time with 1 lap to go, so we're going to have a time of somewhere around 8:45 if they sprint on the last lap, as we believe they will. Lindgren moving out now down the back straight, lengthening out away from Prefontaine, who is obviously not up to Lindgren's tempo here. Gerry looking very good. He's spent the last few weeks up at Lake Tahoe running in the rarefied air there, and certainly has benefited him because he's in excellent form here. He has about 200 yards to go now as he's in the middle of the turn, sprinting nicely. Prefontaine moving as best he can, but he's about 15 yards to Lindgren's arrears, and Gerry coming off the turn down the straight. Good knee lift, good arm action, 15 yards to go. And as Lindgren into the tape, winning this 2 mile, Prefontaine finishes second. Liquori, summoning a bit of a sprint, will finish in third position. And Shorter coming across in fourth. The official times in the 2 mile run: Gerry Lindgren 8:45.6, Steve Prefontaine 8:48.8, Marty Liquori 9 minutes flat, Frank Shorter 9:02 flat.